Alright, teachers. This is just how I would teach this lesson on ordering decimals. Like I said before, I like taking my time and really making sure depth of understanding is there. So this is going to seem a bit slow at the beginning, but as it picks up, hopefully you understand what's going on. Hopefully your students have seen integers before they've gotten into decimals. If not, you may have to skip this or adjust this lesson. So hopefully your students realize by now that negative 11 would be the smallest number. And this is also where you can pick up misconceptions. Then it should be negative 6. I always teach my students to cross off the numbers once they do it, so then when they're comparing, they're working through it in an organized fashion. 0, 3, and 5. Alright, so hopefully they've gotten that. If they didn't, if they said 11 was the biggest because it's the biggest number and 11 is bigger than 5, then that's a teachable moment for you, and you can go back and refresh their memories on that. Hopefully most of your students get this pretty quickly. And then moving on here, this is kind of an opener to see if they know what they're doing before you teach the lesson. You're comparing the second set of numbers, so I go 3, 1, okay, there's no other 3 1s, then I go 3, 5, well there's 2, 4 comes before 8, and then I go to 3.85, and then 5.8 comes before 8.5. I explained what I did and then I didn't do it. Alright. So then you can lead into the good discussion of why they number the orders the way they did. Aren't they all 3? It kind of activates their knowledge as to what they'll know, and hopefully they do better for the lesson. Alright, moving on to the next part, which is the rote practice. This is pretty much self-explanatory. Students are just putting the numbers in order. If you have a PowerPoint, or especially if you have clickers like the PowerPoint shows, you can say, number 2, what's the answer here, to make sure students are moving along fine. This also gives you approximately 2 or 3 minutes to move around the room, help kids who might need help. Try to adjust your teaching. If there are some students who just took off already and need to do something else, this is a good time to get them redirected so that they're working appropriately and not disrupting other students. Moving on to our math stories. I find math stories to be very important. I hate story problems because why do there always have to be problems in math? Everybody's heard the joke. So I like to always make sure these are funny and entertaining for students, or at least entertaining for me when I write them, and they mean something. So Alfredo's looking to make some delicious sauce for his pasta. Hopefully they understand the play on words for Alfredo sauce. When he looks at the prices for heavy cream, he notices there are $2.99, $3.11, and $3.01. As you can see in the whole lesson, all the dollar numbers were the same, or the whole numbers were the same. This time I changed it right here, so that's a change. I'm trying to make sure they pick it up. Hopefully they do, because when it comes to money, students are usually pretty smart about that. And then number 2, Randy's out looking for pie. He knows the pie places are far away though, so he gets out his GPS. Pedro's Pie Emporium is 12.34 miles away. Johnny's Gelato and Pie is 12.99 miles away. And Jason's House of Custard is 12.01 miles away. Where should he walk to? Now, this is the math question right here. Hopefully they say Jason's House of Custard, not only because it's the closest, but because my name is Jason and custard is delicious. Then you ask them the logical question, would they ever walk that far for pie? 1, it shows you determination of the students. 2, it's a humorous question and open up for discussion. They're probably going to ask what kind of pie it is. Maybe it's good pie, maybe it's bad pie. They don't know. Maybe it's their grandma's pie and you can start a discussion about that. I like those teachable moments where students get engaged. Granted, you quote-unquote waste 3 minutes talking about pie, but students have gotten this lesson, they're engaged, and they remember that they went home that they had to answer a question about pie, and it was super long walk to get to the pies, and hopefully they remember something about this lesson. And then I always like to ask a final question, again for discussion. This would be for students to write. This wouldn't necessarily be for discussion until the next day. But distance aside, which place sounds the most delicious? Again, this is the correct answer. Students can say whatever they want. Maybe they like gelato and they want to go to Johnny's. Maybe they just like straight pies, so they go to Pedro's. You don't know. But again, they're engaged and they're having to write, which is important. Math isn't just about crunching numbers, it's about understanding what you're doing and being able to explain it. If they can explain their thoughts here, and they say, well, I explained something in math, even though it may not be mathematical, when it comes to the point where they need to explain something mathematical, they're not scared because they've already taken part in discussion. So that's kind of the way I like to attack things. In the next couple videos, you'll see me go a little bit deeper into the decimals. So I hope you enjoy this unit.